Yeah, and I think we have some people on with us. Hey guys,
Awesome.
if you're on and you can hear us, please just put some notes in the chat, give us a shout out, let us know where you're coming from. We have a really, really big group today.
I'm
Traci,
so glad. Oh,
Traci,
from London. That's awesome.
yeah, we have 500 people registered, so.
I am so happy about that. I think that's such great news.
Yeah, great. Oh, we have someone from Toronto, Fort Worth. There you go.
Okay, next to me.
That's awesome. So how is your bruise?
Oh, yeah, if y'all follow me on social media, it is horrible. Like, look at it.
Oh my goodness. It looks like it's a bit swollen as well.
Oh my gosh, do not try like dancing and dipping at home after you've had wine. Oh my gosh.
Exactly. Never good.
I told my husband, like, it makes for a really good story, but at least we didn't break the lamp. I mean, I'm okay with having a bruise.
There you go. Spoken like a true designer.
Right? Like, okay. I know.
So we have Louisville here from Mary and Susie. We've got Boston. Cheryl's from Boston. Diana from Vaughan. Vaughan is here like in our Toronto area.
Awesome.
Tammy from California. Yvonne from Long Island. That's great. We got lots of people on here.
Welcome, guys.
Calgary. Great. And hopefully we have some people who joined you the last time.
I know, I would love that too. Yeah, that was a small little group. I would love for them to pop on again, and everyone else. I'm so excited.
Right. Well, I know we had such great feedback, Traci, from your last one. So
I'm so glad.
Yeah. We're just so happy that you're able to join us today.
Oh, I'm thrilled. And I know even after, if there are other additional comments, if you just want to email them to me, maybe I could get them, answer them through our social media and some other avenues. But yeah, I would love to help.
Great. Well, yeah, they we'll set up a format for everyone to be able to do that.
Yeah,
and then forward you the questions for sure.
I think that
which is great.
Fantastic.
So what's the weather like in beautiful Texas today?
You know, it's pretty today. So I think it's going to be about 78 or so. But on the weekend, we're going to like 96. So yeah, our spring to summer, just like that. So 96 will be interesting. So we'll see. People need to get outside, but then when it's 96, you're like, oh, right?
Right.
So yeah, I was at the office this morning. I was doing a very large furniture presentation via Zoom. And when you're doing that and you have little fabrics, that you're holding up, oh my God, you're doing like 8 rooms. We ran out of time. It was, oh my gosh. I'm like, we think we have it all together with the Zoom, but it does pose some challenges. So.
Well, it's interesting, let's see who else we have joining us here. Oh, lots of people. Oh, that's so wonderful. Hey guys, if you're just hopping on, give us a shout out. Let us know where you're from. We're just getting people joining us. So we'll have a little chit chat before we get started, but love to hear from you. Just put something in the chat. So Traci, we were talking about, actually I was talking with Stacy and our group from the West Coast about, what this looks like moving forward and how we will approach designers when the shelter in place is lifted, but we still have protocols in place and social distancing and so on. And I know as a designer, you're probably going to be inundated with people wanting to do Zoom meetings with you to show you product and so on and so forth. So, we were talking about how it would be great for me to be able to present to all of our customers and give them kind of the inside scoop as to how these fabrics are woven, how they came to be, and, you know, kind of more of a true romance of the collection that's coming out.
Sure.
So we thought that we would reach out to all of our key designers and invite them to come and join us on the Zoom meeting, but we would deliver the product ahead of time
I think
so
that,
that you would open it just as the Zoom meeting's coming out, and you can kind of follow along, but you've got that tactile touch and feel. Would that be something that would be?
yes,
Yeah.
I think that would be key of sending something ahead of time, because that's what I'm doing with our clients too right now, is I'll
Yeah.
send them the care package first, and then they have the fabrics, because again, when I hold it up in front of a little screen, they can't see. But I think that's a great idea. I think it's a
Great.
great idea. And I think it is, you're picking and choosing, and because I know a lot of people are zoomed out right now, but it is, again, a great opportunity to be learning. And then, you know, with you guys too, I mean, in the future, I think things are going to change a little bit. And
Yeah.
as this goes on. So
Yeah.
I'd be really open to that.
Good. All
Yeah,
right.
I'd be really open to that.
Perfect. We have, oh gosh, we've got Milton. That's where I grew up. That's Kathy from Milton. That's just outside of the Toronto area. We've got someone here from Houston, Austin, Lafayette. Great. Lots of people joining us. Northwest Indiana, Halifax, Nova Scotia, Alberta. Lots of people from Alberta.
Perfect. I know. I see Florida, North Carolina. Awesome. Hello, everybody.
Yeah, great. Well, we've got 100, almost 100 people on now, so we'll give it a couple of more minutes.
Yeah, I think that's.
And we had 500 sign up, so we'll get to the halfway mark, and then we'll get going. And they're flooding in here, so.
That would be good. I would hate to start before we have a good group.
I know. Oh, we have someone from Vancouver Island and Winnipeg, Orlando. Kathy says she didn't dress up for today. That's okay.
I really didn't either, so that's okay.
Yeah, just the top half. You know, I've been wearing so much black lately. I thought, well, I'm going to just put something on that has, it's not color, but at least it's a little bit brighter for today.
I know. I feel like the Zoom backgrounds have been really challenging, especially with newscasters too. You just want to go in there and like redesign, right? Their living room or wherever they are.
You know, I was watching the draft with my husband, and I was just, that was like a designer's nightmare and also a designer's dream to be able, the homes of everybody, almost everybody, were terrible, or the backgrounds that we saw anyway.
There was one coach, people probably know there's one coach.
Yeah, beautiful.
And I can't remember, he told me, and then like the Minnesota coach, because he's from Minnesota, was getting a lot of nods as well, wherever he was. But yeah, it was interesting.
I think people were commenting on his shoes as well. He had the nicest shoes.
That's funny. That's funny.
Oh,
I bet a lot of people don't have shoes on right now, that's for sure.
Yeah, no kidding. I totally want to redesign everyone's Zoom background. That's what Sally says. That's so funny. We have, another one from Dallas, Texas. Is it Rome? I think Rome. Yeah, wonderful. And we're at 130, so we're getting close to start time. It's just a minute after 2, which is great. Yeah, wow, lots of great people. Hey guys, if you're just coming on, give us a shout out. Let us know where you're coming from. I'm here with Traci Connell, and so excited to be talking to her today. Traci is just so inspirational, and I got a little snippet of what she's going to be sharing with y'all today, and I was just so inspired yesterday when I saw it, and I didn't even see half of it, so it'll be super exciting. We've got more from Long Island, Traci, Toronto, Ponte Verde, where else? Kissimmee, Montreal, Cincinnati, Ohio, Akron, Ohio, Waterloo. Hey, Patty, I'm glad you're looking forward to it. We're looking forward to it as well. Port Moody, BC, that's wonderful. So start parts of the country, of your country and ours, are starting to kind of open up and
I
get back out there. So
it's
that's encouraging.
it's interesting as I went to Starbucks this morning because there's like one drive-through. You can only go to the drive-through.
Right.
And I feel like a week ago, I just pulled right up. This morning, there must have been 20 people in line.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, yeah, people are going back to work, right?
Yeah.
May
Yeah.
1st. And yeah, it's interesting. But I thought, okay, people are starting to slack off a little bit, which is kind of scary.
It is that, well, that's the one thing we still all have to be so cautious, but I know people are just chomping at the bit to get back at it.
I know, but while other people, I even had clients say they're going to be sad when this is all over, you know. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good perspective. But I bet some of the moms that are working with their little kiddos, I am sure that's so challenging, and I give
Oh, I
them
can't.
props out of
Yeah.
all people, right?
Right. Well, I know, you know, of course, we've been closed. This is just hysterical. We have pictures of it we're going to post on social media, but we realized, you know, we've got to do something. We've got to follow the rules, but we have to do something to help our customers and get the really important things shipped out to them.
Right.
So one of the owners, Shelley, whom you haven't met yet, but hopefully eventually you will, she and her 3 teenage sons and her husband have gone into the warehouse and started cutting and shipping. And so it's just the 5 of them because they all live together, so there's no harm. And yeah, it's amazing. It's really amazing. The young boys are really pulled together, and yeah.
That means so much to us and all the designers on the call, because I mean, we don't make money until, you know, if we're not selling furniture and drapery and upholstery, and we need, right, we need those cuttings. So that's really great. And I know it's a matter of time, but that is just so
Yeah.
nice to hear.
Yeah, yeah, it is nice. It's cute actually to watch the boys
uh,
help their mom and their dad. All right, well, we've got lots of people on now. Lots of people from Texas, naturally, San Diego, Sacramento, lots of people locally here in Ontario. And Laura, when is wallpaper available? We are starting to order all wallpaper now, Laura. It's going to take a little bit longer than it normally does from us. I know you usually have a really quick turnaround, but go ahead and place your order, and if it's in stock at the suppliers, we'll have it shipped to us. So, and then on to you. Okay, so you can just reach out to your local brand ambassador. They can help you. Raleigh, Charlotte, Vernon, BC. Awesome. Yep. Laura says awesome. Okay, great. Okay, we are at 207. So we're going to get started, but this list continues to grow. So what I'm going to do is many people know you, if not from the e-newsletter we sent out announcing this webinar. We shared your bio there, and some have joined us from the last time. But I want to make sure that, you know, the people who are joining us and just getting to know you, Traci, for the first time, know a little bit of history and a little bit about you. So welcome, welcome, Traci Connell. We are so excited to have you here today. For those who don't know, Traci is an award-winning designer and coach. And just speaking to that very quickly, we were excited to have Traci back because of the coaching side. And you know, there are lots of business coaches, but very rarely do you have an active working designer working as a coach as well. So what she says is tried and true and real, and really, really easy to relate to. So we're excited about that. Traci's been featured in Luxe Magazine, Traditional Home and Casual Living, among many others. She's won countless awards in the design industry. And she has a proven method when she's of scaling her business 20 times. Probably what Traci will tell you, she'll share the story, but in one of the darkest periods of her life, which is absolutely astounding. So, you know, she has created her own strategy-based niche to reach a high-level client base. So we're really excited to hear about this and her no-fail client experience service. So Traci's going to share that with you today. You didn't come and join us today to listen to me, so I'm going to pass it over to her now. So Traci, welcome.
Thank you, Lisa, and thanks to JF Fabrics for inviting me to talk to all of you today. I'm very excited about it, and I hope that this will open up a little bit more vision for you as you're thinking about your business a lot right now. So I'm going to go ahead and share the screen. I have a PowerPoint presentation to show you guys, so I'm going to share it. And then let's see, let's make sure that we are all seeing what I'm seeing.
Yeah, I got it.
Awesome. Okay, friends, let's do this. As you know, our topic today is the path to 6 figures, how to start thinking bigger about your design firm. And Lisa and I were talking about this a couple of weeks ago, that it's okay that maybe you're not there yet, but it's time to start thinking bigger about it. So I'm going to show you the agenda, what we're going to talk about today. And the first part of it are the different types of design business phases. We all don't start out at the top. Believe you me, and I've been doing this almost 20 years. We're going to talk about the different phases, which in my head, I look at it as a consultation business you might have as a designer, whether you do consultations, but then you mark up on your retail product. The next step would be creating a team approach. And then the last one is you have full service clients and you actually have moved into selling wholesale. This will all make sense in just a minute. And then the last part of what I want to talk to you guys about today is the steps of how to think bigger through analyzing, through changing your mindset, but really taking action. So let's start there. I am going to, let me get to where I need to be. I want to tell you a little bit about my background because it really ties into the story about earning money as an interior designer. So as Lisa mentioned, I own a successful interior design studio in Dallas, Texas, and I'm also a business coach for designers. And my coaching platform is geared to designers who are facing setbacks or challenges. And my goal is to help them get unstuck in their business and sometimes in their life. And I feel like my past has presented me to be able to do this with you all, because 8 years ago, 9 years ago, I was not in this position. I was at rock bottom. Sometimes you feel that way too, and it's like there is no way out. So a little bit about that. I was married to an alcoholic for 26 years, and I had 3 beautiful children who I was trying to shield from my rocky relationship and a really unpredictable household. On our 25th wedding anniversary, there was an unfortunate circumstance that happened, kind of an altercation at our home. And right then I made the decision to take 2 of my 3 kids who were living at the home at that time and leave my husband. And I knew that I had to take a step into a different direction. So we left the house and we didn't have anywhere to go. And at that point, we ended up in an empty school parking lot, and my mind was racing. What do we do? And my 2 kids at the time were scared. And for that next year or year and a half, I navigated an almost impossible divorce while turning my side hustle, my second income job of interior design, into the start of a real business. Because, you know, I really had to. It was really hard though at the time to carry on as usual when you're really losing it inside. And I can relate to all of you who might be feeling that way too. So during that year, my ex-husband at the time continued to remind me that if I divorced him, that I would be living in a trailer park with my kids. It's like, cool. Okay, so that was my mindset. That's what I was being told. Well, obviously I didn't stay in that lonely place for a long time. Fast forward, we did get the divorce finalized, and then the second roadblock hit. He actually passed away the next year. And I thought, okay, this is it. This is my life. And at that point, I was solely responsible for supporting my children. And there was no other way. So at that point, my total revenue was $154,000. So that's sales, my income, everything, $154,000. I had to start thinking differently. I had to go from small business thinking to big business thinking. What I was taking home of that revenue, it was a fraction of that total number. And so right then and there, I had to develop the vision to start thinking bigger about my firm and think about how I was going to make six-figure income to support my children. So that is what I had to plan out. And it, like I mentioned, it doesn't happen overnight, but I started in this place and I've grown my business 20 times since that moment. And I want to show you all how I did that. So let's talk about the phases of business. In the first place, I think about where we start is being a consultation business. We all know that if you're just starting out, or the easiest way is to sell consultations, right? You're going to go over, you're going to have your paint deck, you're going to give them all this advice, you're going to get paid for it, and you're going to go back home. So that's what I did. I had my tote bag and my trunk and my lunch in my front seat, and I literally was just taking consultations in and out of my car. So that was great, but that was tough. And I realized I was not going to get to my goal by doing this. And I'm going to show you why. Because what I was doing is trading time for money. Every bit of time that I had, I was trading it for money. And how many hours do we actually have in the week? Let's talk about that in a second. So the easiest way to get more income is to raise your rates, right? So you can raise your rates. Will it still get you there? We'll see. I established some new rules. I can't come over for a half an hour. It has to be 1 hour or more. And I'm not coming out on a complimentary visit, period, the end. So let's go on and take it a step further. Okay, this is lots of numbers, but this is going to make sense to you. So if you take a look at this, let's talk about if your goal is $100,000 for your income, okay? That's what your take-home pay is. Take a look at this. Let's say you charge $125, and let's say that you have 2 weeks of vacation scheduled a year. 4 weeks, that's pretty great, but let's stick to 2 weeks. So what this means is that you have to have 16 one-hour consultations a week to get you to that $100,000 number. So when I think about that, and first I was like, oh my God, I could bill 16 hours, but back then I was just doing consultations. And what that means, if I really kind of dive a little deeper on that, what that means is I need to have at least 22 or 25 inbound calls, new inquiries, people who are interested in doing business with me in order to convert at least 16. Some of them are not going to work out, right? So if you look at it that way, that's a lot of calls. Like, does my marketing generate that many calls per week? Not really, right? So if you continue to look down, you will make 200. Let's say you raise your rates, like we talked about, to 175. You're still at 2 weeks vacation. You've got to have 23 consults, right, to get to that goal. So this is just a great example of when you trade time for money. So at that point, I knew this was not going to happen. So I had to really start stepping into the next phase of my business. So what I started doing was I still had my consultations, but then I started buying retail and marking up the product. So, and that's interesting too, because a lot of the designers that I'm coaching right now, this is where they are. And they tell me that they buy retail and they mark it up 20%. I feel like 20% is like the golden number. It's so interesting. But I was there too. And I want to take a look at that. So this graphic, again, is, we'll refer to this in a little bit, but you've got your consultation fees, and then you're going to buy your retail product and you're going to mark it up 20%, right? Let's take a look what that means. So let's just say the sofa that you're buying for a client is $4,000 and you're going to mark it up 20%. Well, you know that they're probably going to give you a discount, maybe 10%. So that drops your price, right? And then you're going to mark that up to your client at $4,800. Well, look at how much you're going to make. You're going to make $1,200 on that sofa. And you know, back then I was like, that's pretty good, but I got to sell a lot of sofas, right? And so if you slip down to the next category, and this is, let's just say we are fortunate enough to get some full rooms. That's your goal. So let's just say the retail price of all of this furniture is $25,000. You're going to mark it up your 20%. Obviously, you're going to take off your discount. So now the client price is $30,000. And here's your profit. So right then, we're in this mode. You know why? Because this is all we have access to. We're clicking along with the consultations. We're buying from West Elm and CB2 and Crate & Barrel and all those companies that are easy. You don't have to deal with purchasing, and they're at our disposal. And guess what? They're fast. All right. So I took a look at this. I did this. Was I near the goal that I set for myself to support my family? I still wasn't making the goal. So the next business phase that I went into is number 3. It's a team approach. It's building your firm. This next step, for a lot of you who are solopreneurs that maybe don't have an office, you work from home, this was a big game changer for me. I hired an interior designer after I was at that point where I had been in business a while, but hands down, it was the best investment for me, because at that point, if I was doing drawings and accounting and purchasing, I was still trading time for money, and my business was going to shrivel up. There was no way that I could all get this done, because as a business owner, I needed to be selling, right? I need to be selling. This mentality is your business only works if you work. And I decided I had to change my business model. So before I go into that, Lisa received some questions about from some of our callers ahead of time, and I want to address one of them. It's a question from a designer named Catherine, and she says, when I think about expanding my business, I get tired. I'm already stretched thin, and the idea of making sure a lot of other people are doing their jobs right sounds exhausting. How do you find the right people, and how do you get them to take over projects and take responsibility for them? So we all know interviewing, finding the right people, unless you know that person from another firm or from somewhere else, it's a little bit of a risk, right? So I do recommend hiring slow, interviewing a lot of people. There's no reason not to. But what you need to do, and I would recommend to Sarah or Catherine, I'm sorry, is really letting them learn your processes and your styles and giving them that ownership to do their jobs. And it's interesting because like right now, I mean, I have young adults who have full-time jobs, and I mean, they do their jobs. They're accountable. What's helped me is the delegation. We're going to talk about that in a minute, but you probably heard me talk about Asana, the task delegation tool. Everybody's responsible for their niche and their responsibilities in the business, okay? And once you can let go that trust, and there's reporting back from your employees on a constant basis, you're going to have a little bit more of a comfortable feeling. Because honestly, they do want ownership. They want to be proud of what they're doing too. So it is a little bit of risk-taking and kind of you shortening the leash a little bit. So let's get on to this aspect. And what I mean by this, until you build a team, you are only selling time for money. With my coaching students, I talk a lot about trading value for money, not time. So big push in what I teach is you've got to understand your value. You've got to develop and find your value, your superpower, right? Focus in on what you're good at. Because when you start thinking bigger and becoming a visionary about your company, you are not going to have time to do all these little things. If I had to do purchase orders right now, oh my gosh, like we would be way backlogged. So the idea is to delegate some of those tasks that maybe you're not good at, okay? I actually love numbers. Do they want me in on the invoicing? Probably not. So I figured out what my superpower is. I delegate out the rest to my firm. This might be the virtual assistants for some of you guys. It may be one person. But what that allows to happen is to duplicate me, right? It's all those tasks that are happening behind the scenes, because really what I have to be doing is selling. So we could get more projects going on at one time, clicking along, and that allows me to sell, okay? To toot our horn, to tell all these prospective clients that what we do best. And that's big, right? Realizing what you are good at. I mean, we ended up niching into luxury design that's durable. And I did this way before all this blew up. But people call us for this, right? And we're selling because of that. So I want you to think about potentially outsourcing. Doesn't have to be in your office at your home studio. This was big for me though. It helped me think bigger. So when that happens is you're getting more deals. You're getting bigger deals because you're going to have some non-negotiables set up with what you're going to take. That's going to allow you to have a higher conversion rate and spend less time of it or on it. When you do that, guys, it's bigger revenue and bigger profit. So you're starting to just build your team so you can expand into those higher level income numbers. So working fewer hours too. So next, this is what I grew into at this point in my career. So we have full service clients. We are soup to nuts, right? And that is combined with selling wholesale. It's actually purchasing wholesale. But when you are buying and selling through wholesale accounts, again, this is something that took me from where I was on our third level to the next level. So let's talk about what this is. This allows you to reduce the cost of goods sold. It allows you to increase your margins. So that's more for your firm and your overhead. Everybody have to pay, and you. And this decreases the client's cost. So buying wholesale, actually, there's a lot to it. It doesn't happen overnight. There's a lot that goes into this, and actually I'm developing a course to take you step by step by step by step with templates and worksheets and all this good stuff to really cut out the industry fluff and tell you how to do this, because it really helped me. And I'd love for it to help you too. But let's take a look at this. This actual worksheet, I mean, this really displays how advantageous it is. So let's look at the same sofa that we looked at earlier in the webinar. So we have that same sofa at $4,000, right? And you're buying at retail, you're gonna make $1,200. So if you really start selling or buying wholesale, that same $4,000 sofa, if you get really deep discounts, and there's ways to do that, then you're going to take this much money, $1,600 off of that sofa, right? But you're still charging the client the same amount, $4,800. But look, your profit goes from $1,200 to $3,200. Okay, that's huge, right? Same price. You're just getting deeper discounts. And again, you've got to work for it. But to save your clients money, and then you become a more profitable firm. When this happens, you put money back into your business to ramp up your marketing, to reach more clients. Same thing with a full room, right? We talked about this room before. You were going to make $7,500. You get those deeper discounts by setting up these accounts. You could potentially profit $20,000. Okay, these are big numbers, but you have to set it up correctly. I want you to start thinking bigger about this opportunity. It doesn't happen overnight, but it can happen, because I feel like if it happened for me, it can happen for you. So different steps of getting there. So here's the next phase, or the next thing I want to talk about is thinking bigger and being a visionary. So another question came in that I want to answer. It was from a gal named Sarah, and she basically was asking how to keep clients on track so they do not try to get involved in making our systematic process break down. We are often approached by potential clients who want the magazine-worthy home, but they only want to help with a portion of, or want us to help with a portion of the services or the project, because they're good at design and they can do some of it. And we've all heard that, right? She says, although I try to educate them on the process in the beginning, it seems that they continue to devalue my firm's experience and expertise. I would like some advice on how to keep the process moving along systematically so it doesn't get derailed. When you start thinking bigger about your firm, you have to really hone in on those systems and develop those processes and those non-negotiables at the very beginning of when you meet a potential client, so this derailment doesn't happen. And I've done that by setting the ground rules, telling my clients, this is the business structure and the business model that I follow. So if you know that you're getting money up front, which if you're doing a service for someone, promising a service, you are getting skin in the game up front. And typically that's not refundable. So the idea then is to set the expectation so they don't have an out to say, yeah, I only want the lamp from Crate and Barrel and and the rug. It's communicated as full design. And again, it takes a while to get there, but it's all about you setting up the expectations at the beginning, thinking like a big business owner, and being confident in the tools and the structures and the processes that you have created. So in doing that, I want to take a look at this graphic. It says, how close are you to the six-figure income? Some of you may not know. I get a lot of you that say, I really don't know. So let's take a hard look at this, because you don't know where you're going. You don't know how to get there. So let's look at this. The first thing that you do need to really look at, what is your goal number? Is it $100,000 to take home? Is it $300,000? $500,000? Everybody's is different, right? We're talking about 100,000, we're talking about six figures. That doesn't, who knows what that is? But I say set that goal, right? And then the next thing that I did was I had to learn my current numbers. So this is where a lot of us, we're busy doing the pretty stuff, and sometimes we put our head in the sand. Well, I didn't have that luxury to do that. So I had to learn, all my revenue numbers. I had to learn my margins. I had to understand a P&L. So I got a fractional CFO that I meet with every single month, and we go through, all right, Traci, what are the margins? Let's look at the margins. Why are these margins down? It looks like you're, selling really great on window treatments. That might be something that you dive into and sell a little bit more. So that way, I know what my numbers are, right? And that helps me think bigger on the opportunities that I would have. Also with that is cutting expenses. So once you know your numbers, you know where you can cut and you can save, because we all can do that. The next step to figuring out how close you are, and I love this one, number 4, forecast your projects. Let's just say you do have some inbound calls right now. A lot of you are talking about your pipelines are pretty empty right now. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But let's just say, okay, I have a revenue goal. And this is the way I've always operated. I have a revenue goal, and I want to beat it every single year. But you all need to also understand that sometimes that revenue goal means nothing if your income is staying the same, right? So you may have a revenue goal, let's just say it's $1 million, and your take home is 100. Well, then here's the thing. Your revenue goal goes up to 120, right? And then you start adding more people to help you get to that revenue goal, and your income stays the same. So not smart, right? Definitely not smart. What I like to do, I look at that revenue goal and I back it up. For example, I've been doing this for, I love this part. So I know if I have to get to a revenue goal, say it's $1 million, and I am $300,000 away, and it is August, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So I look at it and I say, all right, let's just say I need to pick up 3 more projects, and say they're $100,000 projects. So I know, well, the Smith's job was $100,000 all in. So I know that I need to pick up 3 more Smith jobs. I can do that. I'm going to figure it out, and whatever it takes, I'm going to get those types of jobs. If I were to say, well, it'd be really cool to get, another Jones job that I could put me over my number, sometimes that's harder, right? To get these really big jobs, you have to massage a little more, and sometimes it takes longer. So think about it in chunks. And when you do, you're like, okay, Well, maybe I need 5 more. Some of these jobs may not be photo quality. You may not be able to take photos for your website. But I want you to weigh that, because sometimes we consider projects, that we can have on our website and show our clients what we do. But the thing is, once you get that in your head, how many projects you need to get to your goal number, then you have to create a plan to achieve it. That is what I want you to, take a really hard look at yourself. Are you willing to put in the time, the effort, the grit, the action? Because I know all of you know how hard it is to own and run an interior design business. I know that you know this. So that gets me to really the next topic, is your mindset. I want you to stop thinking that time equals money. We've talked about that a lot, okay? It's value, right? It's product. During this time right now, while you're thinking about being a visionary and thinking big about your company, think about ways you can educate yourself, okay? About what you're good at. Like I said, when I did this, I was really passionate about durable design and selling it to luxury clients. I educated myself. I became an expert in this, right? That allowed me to pass along that knowledge to my client base. My whole team is well equipped in this too, but then I could sell the product. And I knew that I could have design fees and consultations, but I had to sell the project to get to the next income level. The last thing, I have this t-shirt, I wear it a lot. Be positive and be nice. I had a bad day the other day at home, and I posted on my social media, and I was like, I got a lot of response. Guys, it's okay to have a bad day. It's okay. And I guess I think that I'm positive about the way I think all the time. That people got concerned, and our readers and our followers. So thanks for that, but it's okay. But on a broader scale, look at the positivity with that. Think about the relationships, the fact of being nice. People want to do business with you. I have one more question that was sent to us ahead of time, and it was from Jacqueline. And she says, what is the best way to market your interior design business? For example, there's social media, there's print, there's magazines, there's SEO companies, there's newsletters, email marketing, the list goes on. She says, additionally, paying for marketing and services can be costly, and I certainly want to invest in the right place. This went hand in hand with my next step, because I feel like right now, a lot of my consulting clients, there's not a lot of extra cash. And so I want them to put it where it counts. So I did this. It's relationship marketing, okay? Doesn't really cost you any money, right? To get out there. When I say get out there, networking opportunity is going to be really tough right now, but there's other ways. There's phone, there's Zoom, there's cards, there's marketing tactics, gifts. Get out there and increase your network. What I mean by that, reach out to your clients. Tell them that you're expanding your product line. You're doing outdoor now. No one knows your values or the value that you have, your services, unless you tell them. I've been an advocate for sending email newsletters for a long time. That's all I have to do is send out an email newsletter to my past clients, and we're offering new service, and I will get a call. Huge advocate for that. And the thing is too, a lot of you might be like me, I'm not a phone caller for my clients. I think of other ways, but I have developed personal relationships with them that I do feel comfortable reaching out. Okay, also your industry colleagues, think about this. Great time to partner. You have the time to create little marketing notes or note cards or folders. Get out there. Think about the connections of partnerships that you might have with your local builders, with your architects, kitchen and bath designers. Think about the collaboration, okay? It's having the confidence to present this opportunity. Who cares if they say no? How many times have I been told no? I wouldn't be on this call today unless I didn't have relationships with people, unless I put it out there what I was doing. But I get turned down too, right? But this is free. And then think about increasing your network with your representatives, all your vendor reps. So this is my JF rep, Stacy. And over the years, we've developed a great relationship, right? And this is funny. This was at, I think, his showroom opening. And we, at the time, we were both engaged to different people. I don't even know what it was. But anyway, he ended up on one knee, like proposing to me. It just shows how fun of a relationship that we have. And the thing is, because we've gotten to know each other, if I go to him and say, hey, Stacy, our pipeline's a little dry right now. If you come across any opportunity with a potential client or anyone that's looking for services, hey, keep us in mind, and this is why. Tile showrooms. I mean, I've had them call me and yeah, here's some cards. Anybody's looking. People walk into the showrooms. Hey, we're available. But I think my point is, get out there, right? It's free. Toot your own horn. Tell them you're available. Because you know what? The whole build it and they will come mentality, I don't know about that, guys. I think by having a social media page and doing stories, I think it's that mentality. I think we need to think a little bit differently and really, take action on that. So what I want to tell you really is the most important activities that I do are finding potential prospects and securing those initial meetings. Show your value. Be sure that your message is always present and consistent, and that also means your social media. So out of all this, I do want you to think a little bit bigger. I want you to think about scaling your income past 6 figures, 7 figures, right? There are ways to do it. It doesn't happen overnight, but I hope that by showing you this today and following some of these steps that you can get to those goals, because why not, right? I think it can happen for all of us. So I hope you got some value. As I mentioned before, I'd love for you all to stay in touch with me. I think I mentioned, am developing a course, and it is my 6-step proven formula to landing larger fees and bigger projects. I figured out how I do it. It works for me. I'd love to share that with you all. And stay in touch. So the coaching website is just traciconnell.com. Follow us on our design site too, traciconnellinteriors.com. Email address here. This is our office phone number, and our Instagram, Traci Connell _ Connell _ You hate when something happens, you can't get the full name. And Traci Connell Interiors. Follow us, engage with us. I will bring you more content because I'd love to help any of you get unstuck as well. So I'm going to turn it back to Lisa. We're giving away a free strategy session today to hopefully help some of you uncover, your strengths and go from being stuck to skill. So I hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, that was so amazing. And I there's so many questions here. We have to get to the questions. So I am going to have the name drawn, and while that's happening, maybe we can answer some of these questions.
Do it. Yeah.
So I hope you're ready, Traci, because there's a lot of them.
Okay, let's just start. I might table some of them, but let's do it.
Okay, so I think the biggest question is when you talked about, and this is going to answer a few of them, when you talked about adding 20% to retail. a lot of people can't understand how you don't necessarily do that now, but how you could have done that, because a lot of their clients want to see receipts, want to purchase themselves. How did you navigate around that?
Okay, so again, it's setting those boundaries and being really confident in the way that you're going to present how they buy your product. Okay, so I say they don't know that it's coming from Crate and Barrel. You know what I mean? Like back then, they didn't know this. So when you present, I mean, you're going to present all these beautiful things, right? And I'm the seller, just like you're the seller. I'm the seller. So whatever the cost is, that's the price. And so I don't allow my clients to see receipts, because that markup, I mean, it covers, you know, so much of the overhead and the work and everything that we have to do to order that piece and deal with the damages and get it delivered. And, you know, and your design fee pays for that creativity. But I think it's setting the parameters up front. But that's part of that development phase in your business, right? Of how do I present my messaging, and how do I combat that question? Because I mean, what I do, I don't sell, like I don't say, okay, well, we're going to do half a room, right? I built it up where this is what it's going to be. And so I don't typically run into that, but I can see if you don't have the structure at the beginning, how you might end up in that situation.
Yeah, and I think, you know, I mean, now it may be a little bit more difficult to do because everything's so global and accessible now. But I think you're right, Traci. I think, you know, setting the tone as to, um, and the boundaries as to how you work and how you get paid and how things work. You have a right to get paid, and you don't need to apologize for that. And I think, you know, kind of that bigger thinking of, if they're going to transact with you, they're going to get an amazing experience and a wonderful job, but that's comes at a cost, right?
Exactly. Yep.
So I also have a question here. What does your team consist of? Design help, accounting? What it like? How many, and what is who does what?
Yeah. So my team right now, I have a part-time business manager. So he's there 2 days a week, and he basically handles anything money related. And that is one of the roles you sort of want to look into at the beginning. Okay. And I think next, before you have like a office assistant or something like that, a assistant designer, I think is key, because a lot of times too, they can take some of those office tasks and really help you with the design as well, like a collaboration. So right now I have the part-time business manager. I have 2 full-time interior designers in addition to me. I have a part-time designer that she also does our social media. And then I do have a part-time office assistant who keeps everything running and does a lot of errands and helps me keep my sanity. So that's our firm right now. But then I said, we outsource a CFO as well, and some other, some trades.
Right, right. Traci, I'm going to ask you, if you're done, to stop sharing your screen so people can
Sure.
see in a bigger way.
Sure.
Wonderful. There you are. Great. Okay. So we also have from Jacqueline. She said, I understand the entire wholesale selling. However, how do you reach the higher level of clients? The income bracket that can build on our business, is it social media, flyers? How do you reach them? I think you spoke to that a little bit through networking and so on, but.
I did. I think first, you know, I've talked a lot about with my consulting clients is really developing that niche. And I know it's scary sometimes when you say, I'm gonna create a niche but am I going to lose other clients? I believe niche is rich. And I think, again, being very knowledgeable about what you can do, because you can't be everything to everybody. And then you go where those people are. And I know that sounds like so cliche, but until you feel good with your infrastructure, that's going to give you the confidence to go reach that higher level income client. But I feel like you've got to have the background first, and the backbone of your business to have the confidence. It's all about confidence to be able to approach these relationship marketers that I was talking about, in order for them to feel confident in you to refer you.
Right. Another question here, it really kind of is more about, similarly with the retail comment about how do you charge retail. And she says that her clients, if she's charging a fee for the consultation, they don't expect a markup. But you're not going to reach level. Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is too, I think it boils down to them not even knowing you're buying retail. Okay. So yes, you're going to charge a fee. Yes, you're going to charge a design fee, but they don't need to know that you're buying retail, right? Because when you're going to present a pretty PowerPoint with the furnishings and the mock-up of the room and the render, whatever, however you're going to sell it, again, whatever discount you're getting on that, even if it's 10% or whatever you're marking up with, they don't need to know. So really, it's that wisteria coffee table and this is the price. They don't need to know.
Right, right. And then we have another question about how do you handle the clients that want to shop with you?
That want to shop with me?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's because of this other business I have with the wholesale furnishings. Again, it's so much about messaging, and I teach this a lot because I have a lot of wholesale stocking dealer accounts. That allows me to have a larger discount for my clients. And I tell them, we go to High Point twice a year. We're sitting on this product. We are measuring how deep a chair is and how high it is in the comfort. And I stick to just a few major upholstery lines because I know how they're going to sit. I know that it's not going to come in damaged. And so, I mean, in Dallas, of all places, whatever I'm going to recommend to you as a sofa, we're not going to go find it on any showroom floor because the arm's going to be different. The seats, the fabric's going to be different.
Right.
Think about it. Like there are not a whole lot of furniture stores anymore. So sitting down on the furniture, I feel like, I've talked them out of it. But when I didn't have this is what I did for the longest time. There's a showroom in our World Trade Center that has tons of sofas, and they're all upholstered in white. No price tags. So I would go in there and they had all the different custom fabrics, and I would put together the fabric combination with the chairs and the sofa, lay them all out. They could go sit on every single sofa, but it was all in white. And then we put it together and I'd send them a quote later. It was beautiful. I used that business model for years.
I think it really is, a lot of people here, by the way, I've got quite a few more questions, but a lot of comments, Tracy, on how great this has been, and that they love the fact that it's that, real big picture thinking, and that you repeat that all the way through, because that's what you and I spoke about, which is when you can think about the big picture, all the little questions about how are easier to answer.
Yes.
Right?
It is. And as you notice,
they need to be answered.
Right. And again, it doesn't happen overnight. I mean, it took me a long time. But I had to figure it out, right? So that's honestly like one of the reasons I want to go into this, because, I know there are designers who are struggling, and I do know how hard it was. So, and I know everybody's in a hurry and they're on a fast track. But if there's simple ideas that we can do now, then hopefully they've learned some.
Right, right. A good question here from Aldofina. She's asking, on average, how many clients would you have at any given time?
So again, for us, and our revenues in multi-millions. So I mean, I don't mean like crazy, but we do have to carry a lot of projects. So I would say right now we probably have about 10, 12, but what I have done, and again, it's setting your non-negotiables, your boundaries. So I have figured out over the years, we do best when we come in and we have either a full house or a first floor or 5 rooms, sometimes 4 rooms. And those are bigger projects and less of them, because I want to be sure, number one, we have the bandwidth to do it. Number two, that we can give our clients the best customer service that we have set up, because it's like clockwork, and I'm so proud of my team for sticking to this. But if you're organized and if you go by process and everybody's accountable, everybody has their roles, then you can take on more at one time. But then again, even me, January, February, it was like, okay, the pipeline's getting low. Let's think of some other things. So then you have to ebb and flow. I mean, I took on a couple of projects that were 1 rooms, maybe a bathroom model. That's why knowing your numbers, right, is super helpful.
It's interesting because most of the questions and the comments are people having a hard time getting their head around the whole markup, the 20% on retail. How do you find those wholesale companies? I know there's a lot of questions here that Traci will have as we stated in the e-news letter we sent out, she will have your email addresses, and we're going to give her these questions. So if there's something that we didn't answer here, for sure Traci will be able to do that, or we can, depending on the question. So a good question here, though, Traci, is knowing what margin you need to put on your product in order to kind of, get where you need to go.
Right, and that comes down to the forecasting. So it's knowing, and again, if you have a studio, obviously you're gonna have more overhead, or an office, you need to know what your overhead per month is, right? And then kind of working backwards. And here's the thing, it's what the market will bear, right? I know in our firm, we have to have our lower margin on furniture than we can have on soft goods, because I have to be competitive. I mean, there are a lot of designers or a lot of stores, I have to be competitive, but I also have to know that I need to pay our overhead, and I have employees and insurance and all those things. So again, working backwards and knowing those numbers, that's going to help you develop those margins. And back to your questions on, how do I get wholesale accounts? One of the reasons why I wanted to show the steps of an interior design business as I know it, that wholesale buying, that's the 4th step. I didn't get there at the beginning, and some of the designers on the call, they could be at the 3rd step, which is awesome. But the 4th step, there's a lot of work. And again, so this course that I'm doing, I mean, it's every template, it's messaging to your vendors to ask, hey, this is why I think you should open my account. But it is a step-by-step process. So I don't want to mislead anybody saying, hey, I'm just going to go open all these accounts right now, because there's a bit more work to be done before you get to that.
Right. So I have some names, the very first name that was drawn, and because the attendee has to be here on the call with us, we have several just in case that they are not. So there's a few more questions here, but I really do want to get to that because it's really exciting that someone is going to get to spend an hour with you.
I'm excited.
And thank you so much for offering that. That's amazing.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
So what I would say to you all now is if I say your name, if you would please just give me a shout out in the chat line, and we'll be excited to get you hooked up with Traci. So the winner is Andrea Coleman. So Andrea, if you're here with us, if you could just give me a shout out on the chat, that would be great. And we'll give that a minute. We'll give Andrea a minute to respond. In the meantime, I'm going to go grab another question.
Sure.
So let's see here. How long did it take for you to reach your six-figure goal? And what is the best way to reach those clients who can and will spend? I think you answered that, you know, where to find those types of clients, but how long did it take you?
Oh, let's see. I remember I mentioned that 154,000 revenue, and that was like 9 years ago. So I put a ton of work in. It probably took me, I don't know, I'd say about 3 years or so. And again, it's the hard work, okay? And I had a business coach too. So, you know, by sitting there doing nothing and wondering, I couldn't have gotten anywhere. So we all need an extra set of eyes, whether that's a peer, whether it's a colleague, whether it's a coach. That outside view looking in really can help you get there faster.
Wonderful. Thank you. Okay, so I haven't heard from Andrea. So we are now going to go to the next name, which is Sally Lord. So Sally, if you are on the call with us, please just give me a shout out in the chat. And then I have another question. Oh,
there she is.
Yay! Sally, that's awesome. Sally, we will get that arranged for you to connect with Traci. So we'll reach out to you. We have your email address, of course, and we'll reach out to you just after we finish up here. Traci, just a few more questions, and then I will let you go because I know you're busy. So we have here, do you have any suggestions for clients that are difficult and want items that don't work in their room?
Oh, they want items that they're probably referring to items that they have that are not going to work in the room. I feel like they're calling you for a reason. They're calling you for your expertise. And because of that, like work hard, be nice thing that I was talking about before, you know, entertain it. But the thing is, they're calling you because they want a different vision for their house for the most part. If you can fit it in, awesome. If not, because here's the thing too, when you're presenting a full room, and that's going to be your goals, everybody. So you want to present full rooms. I had one this morning. This is a great example. I have a presentation this morning, and we already did, this is, I don't know how many rooms, 6 rooms or whatever, but there was a home office, and we fully developed the presentation. And then like 3 days ago, the client sends over, I really want this desk in the study. And granted, we'd already did questionnaire, the whole thing, and it was never mentioned. And she showed this picture. It was not going to work. And so I just wrote her back and I said, hey, you know, our vision for your home, like we discussed, we've already picked these items out. And if you know, let's talk about it on presentation day. So they clearly could see that the direction that we were suggesting, her piece wouldn't fit in. And guess what? It wasn't even mentioned today.
Wow.
So, yeah, I think it's a bigger picture presentation than they can see. It's not quite going to work.
Right, right. Great.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Traci, I mean, I can't even tell you how many questions there are here. So that's really wonderful. rest assured, we will address the questions. We're going to get them to Traci so she can address them. Thank you all so much for spending an hour, just over an hour with us. We know your time is really valuable. We're excited for everyone to start slowly getting back to work. And Traci, I just can't thank you enough. We think, well, we at JF obviously think you're awesome. But you know, giving us your time and giving away 60 minutes of your time to Sally, who's very fortunate. It's just it's great. So thanks for giving back.
I am just thrilled. It's definitely my passion with my background and my story to give back and just really educate designers of what I've learned and what's worked for me and what hasn't worked for me. So I want to thank you and JF Fabrics. Love you guys, love your brand, love your product, customer service, love my rep. So thank you for asking me to come on.
Awesome. Okay, listen, you have a great day. Take care of that bruise. And thanks again, everyone. And we'll catch up with you real soon.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, Traci.
You're welcome.